We are live on YouTube. You got it.
Okay. It's still just doing some background, setting up your meeting business on this end.
Yeah, usually when we do a council meeting, you have to be very quiet for a few seconds till it says okay.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go grab a headset so I can hear you guys better. I'll be right back.
No problem. Let me just step out of this mode and exit full screen, and let me try. So you guys, one second. There it is.
I'm looking forward to when we can get back and have a real live meeting. I really just like Zoom.
I just live on it, so I'm so used to it.
Yeah, it messes up my computer, my audio in my computer. Every time I load Zoom, when I get out, all of a sudden my audio doesn't work on my computer anymore. I have to go back into a Dell control panel and go find where my audio driver is and reload it. It's a real pain.
So it's dominating your settings. Yeah, because we use Zoom, Google. We use another one. It's called High Five. And some people Zoom dominates, so they can't get online on High Five. I can't get on to Zoom meetings on my computer at work, but I can use Google and I can use Zoom in my personal. Zoom is very intrusive, and it's just the way the settings and everything are set up. But I live on it, so I like not having to go anywhere.
Okay, I'm looking forward to a real meeting. When can we do that, Bob?
Oh, it should be soon. The Chamber of Commerce meeting tomorrow night is live.
Good.
Really?
You're still involved with Chamber? Or no, you're with the Lions Club. Yeah, you're
Both.
But no, the notice I got.
Yeah, so, I've always been an associate of, I was a member when I owned my business.
Yeah.
And then when I sold my business, I just became an associate. Because I'm still interested in what's happening with the Chamber and the village. And so I've always wanted to keep my finger in there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm both. And on the Lions side, as you said, the Lions does a lot of good in the village, and it's good to. They're one of the few organizations that actually have some money that they can actually do something.
So, no, the Lions are fantastic. When you think about yeah, they run, and I mean it's worked out great. As you're aware, the Lions Park is. The village has the lease, which they just give to the Lions Club, and the Lions pay for the lease, but it's their source of income, right? The Lions Park's the biggest source.
Yeah. So we do a lot of good things. We do a lot of donations. We do a lot of sponsoring events. We like the
library.
The Snowflake Festival. We sponsored the horse wagon, and that was really successful. There was about 300 people went on that ride. And the kids enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed it. It was great.
It's a nice day for it.
It turned out fantastic. I was really worried that the weather would kill us, but it turned out better than I ever thought.
Yeah, the kids had a lot of fun. So just referring to what I said earlier, yeah, Tom Belanger, he just sent it to Helen and I. I should have checked that. I thought he assumed he'd send it to everyone. But he said, unfortunately, after this meeting, I'm going to have to resign from the CDAC. I'm hoping after the municipal election, when committees are reformed, that my time will not be as stretched as it is now. So that was on the 4th of March.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. How do we plan for that? Or do we need to do anything, or do we just write out our time left on this committee as is?
Well, we'll have to see whether they what the process would be, whether at this point in time they would advertise for another member for the CDAC. We can proceed with 3. There's a quorum, but the committee ideally has 5 members. So no, I'll let Doug know that. I didn't realize you just sent it to the 2 of us. I'm sorry.
Okay, well that's unfortunate because Tom has a lot of experience with the housing. The public housing, so that's something that we really do need some input on. The whole business of housing, shortage of housing, that's still a big issue here.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah, it's just we've got such limited time left from a committee standpoint though, too, because I'm sure there's a summer break, right? Unless they're, anyway, we're off, we're already off topic.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Yes, now I'm getting an echo again, so bear with me for a second here. I've got to close one of these two windows and I don't know what's going to happen. Leave meeting. Assign Donna.
Okay, I've got it.
Yeah, there was several second lag on some of the audio.
Yeah, because you could hear her echo. None of us were speaking. That was very bizarre.
So can we proceed?
Well, we need a chair to call the meeting to order. I'm voluntoling myself, I presume, to take minutes, Mike.
I think you did a fantastic job of that last time. I think if you do it again, that'd be great.
I got queued up because I kind of figured when I saw Tom's email that I would be asked. So I don't mind. I'm going to try and do it live.
You truly did a good job last time.
I'm used to taking notes. Thank you. In meetings, like I do it all the time. So I'm just so used to it. Like I'm in a Zoom meeting and I just take notes because I don't handwrite anything anymore. Pen and paper is gone from my desk. Everything's note taking on the computer. I just had to train myself to do it.
Wow.
Yes, old stubborn old thing can be retrained after all, right? There we go. We got a chair back.
Yeah. Hello? Okay. We're back.
Almost. We're just waiting for Helen to call the meeting to order.
Okay, I think I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yep.
very clear.
Okay. Oh, for Pete's sakes. No, we got off topic, but really we were on topic because it's really important we go back to a normal meeting. None of this technology thing.
So maybe our next meeting we could
Oh,
have.
there's that delay again. Why?
You sound okay to me.
Yeah, you sound fine. Try a test, Helen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I just listened to the whole replay of the conversation. Okay.
Yep, clear now.
Oh. I think because it's probably playing on, yeah, I think because it's recording on YouTube, maybe I'm getting a feedback or something. I don't know. Okay, we need to get down to business. I need to sort this out. Am I repeating to anyone?
No.
No, you sound good.
Helen, while you were signing on, I said I would take the minute notes.
Okay. Let's call this meeting to order. 7:41 p.m. Okay, perfect. See, Ed, I heard that, so I think I must have another window open. I don't know whether I'm getting that feedback from YouTube or what's going on. But if it's only me that hears myself twice, I will deal with it. See, I just heard. See, I just heard myself again. Okay. Okay, so do we, do,
Helen, do you want me to take over just until you get
yeah, I'm
your-
gonna sign out and sign back in because this is driving me nuts. I would be talking over myself twice and then I can't hear you guys. So I'm leaving and I'll be back.
Are we allowed to do this? I mean, what's the, on this, Paul or Bob? Okay, you're muted. You're still muted. You're muted.
And Sarah, there I'm back. Yeah, sorry about that. That's as Doug Struthers was explaining to me, if you're in a county council meeting and you do that, you get fined. Yeah, I don't know if it's $5 in the pot or something like that.
Yeah, we used to do bingo just to have some amusement. Then it just got spent too much time on bingo. How does this work now with Helen not struggling to participate?
Well, we'll have to get Helen back in order to have quorum.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, again, it's sort of like the conditions of having a meeting. You have to have a quorum, you have to be recording, and you have to be live on YouTube. Otherwise, the meeting is not valid.
right. Okay.
So far, we're getting there.
In the meantime, will we be able to maybe have our next meeting in person then? Can we arrange for that?
I would certainly like to. Yes, I've had enough of this as well. It's that'll be, how about the first order of inquiry, Bob, to-do list? Because we're still doing our council. We had our first budget meeting today. We're still doing those online.
Does he intend to start doing the council meetings in person soon, or?
Well, the problem with doing the actual council meetings is we have enough room in the, it depends on, yeah, if we still have to be masked and observe social distancing, there isn't sufficient room in council chambers to have people in the meeting. So if we do go back to live meetings, we would still have to stream them live on YouTube and record them. Well, we record them anyway, but we'd still have to stream them live on YouTube so that people could participate, people could watch it. Because your meetings have to be visible. You can't watch the recording later. You have to be, has to stream live. So yes, we'd still have to stream the meetings live. So I think we'd still be sitting in a room together. I guess they could, yeah, they've got all the microphones now. They could record it and stream it at the same time.
Okay.
So they wouldn't
Okay.
allow more people in the room than just the council and CAO, treasurer.
And we'd all still have to be following masks and social distancing. Yeah.
I think once you're sitting down, we'd be okay. I think, you wear a mask.
No, it's like being in a restaurant. It's like being in a restaurant. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. You're masked until you're eating and drinking, technically.
Or sitting.
Why do we still have to record?
Oh, because even when there's, you're having a meeting live, and if people can attend the meeting, you still have to record the meeting. The live on YouTube is necessary so people can actually live stream the meeting as opposed to watching a recording later or listening to a recording later. So
But pre-COVID, we never recorded. We took meeting notes. It was open to the public and we recorded. So why are we
Exactly.
still?
Oh, no, that's my point. Right now, at this point, Helen, the public can't participate in the meeting or even view of the live meeting unless we record it or put it on YouTube. So previously, they could come to the meeting if they wanted to. At this point in time, they can't come to the meeting, but they
Oh,
can.
okay.
Yeah, anyway, that
Okay.
was a big educational curve for all of us when this started, was the legalities of being present. But yes, under my to-do list, when can we go back to live meetings?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I figured out the problem on this end. It was because the YouTube is playing in the background. I was hearing this meeting and then there's a time delay on the YouTube. So I would hear
Yeah, I was
us
wondering if that
twice.
was it, because there's a tab up here I can find. Yeah. Okay. So, called order?
Yes, called to order. It's 7:46 we're calling this meeting to order at 7:47 PM. Okay. Just going to try and find our agenda here. Okay.
Disclosure pecuniary interest.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have the agenda in front of me. I'm still looking for it, and it seems to have disappeared on me. Disclosure of pecuniary. What was the other word?
Interest.
and the nature thereof.
Interest and nature thereof. Okay. Why can I not find the agenda?
It's up. I've got the minutes up from the last meeting, and
Okay.
there's the agenda.
Okay, perfect. And I have it now as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, so anything to disclose, anyone?
No,
No.
Rex Eversluck doesn't have any.
Donna, none.
Okay, I have none. Okay, so moving on to number 3, approval of the agenda.
Tom didn't add in what we were asked from the COO, so that needs to be added in.
Okay. Can we put it under other business, or do we need a separate line item?
Could we discuss it first just from the essence of time, because it was asked from council though, like if other business tends to be late?
Okay, so let's add it to the agenda, and as number 5 and everything after the current 5 shifts down one. So we'll do approval of minutes, and then we'll go right into that topic.
Good.
I'll just put approval of the agenda as amended.
Yeah.
Can I do that, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, and the amendment is to investigate, what was the verbiage on that email I sent?
Investigate the
Pride, yeah, in the community.
Yeah. So pride recognition or
Yeah, so number 5, you said pride recognition? Oh, I can't, I'll try and edit here. Oh, it's gonna let me, good. And you said after number 5?
Yeah, make it 5, and
Make it
then
5?
everything
Okay.
else ships down.
Okay, so let me continue to screen
prioritize it.
Okay, I'll continue to screen share. Screen
Okay.
share. What did I say? Oh, wait, I went here. Okay, so it'll be that way. It's visual, pride recognition
There we go.
Perfect.
in the community. Okay, need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
May I make a question? We do have one bit of old business I was wondering about, and that has to do with the water treatment consultant. And I was wondering, Bob, is there anything that could be talked to that, or is that something that is not worth talking at this point?
At this point, you're talking about the report that we got. Let's see. On the water treatment plant, it looks positive. They're successful so far in their reduction attempts, but I think we're jumping off the agenda right now, Mike. If you want to cover that under-
Yeah, my question had to do with, it was an old item that we had with regards to a consultant being hired.
It's now on the agenda for other business.
Okay, so and then is Red Grant Zero Emissions, do we need an update? Do we want to ask for an update on the ice rink roof? Is there any movement? We've talked about that in the past, and we had, so are there any updates, or should we put that for the next agenda?
That would be the next. I wouldn't bother putting that in. There's nothing to add to that right now.
Okay.
So, but I would, okay, sorry, you're still editing the agenda, so we need to pass.
I need a motion to approve.
Okay, pardon?
As amended.
As amended, yes.
Yes, okay, so motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Who's making are you making the motion then?
Can I make the motion?
Generally speaking, no, it would be Mike would make the motion, seconded by Donna, and then they would vote. You only vote in the event of a tie.
Okay.
So Mike, if you want to make the motion, then I will second it.
A motion to approve the amended minutes for the meeting.
Amended
Okay.
agenda.
And I second.
Oh, sorry, amended agenda. I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need to put that on line number 3, approval of the agenda? Do we need to add as amended?
I would put as amended on
It's
that.
in the minutes.
Perfect.
Oh,
That's better-
okay.
Better yet.
It doesn't need to be on the agenda. It's in the minutes because we've amended it. And yeah,
Perfect.
Okay.
we do it
Okay.
every time. It's the exact same every time.
Okay. Well, yes, I think this committee needs at least 4 heads to keep all the technical details straight. Okay, perfect. Okay, so moving on to number 4, approval of minutes from November 29th, 2021.
No, it'll be January 31st, 2022.
Okay, then our agenda needs to be adjusted because the agenda reads November 22nd, 2021.
What did I just say was January
31st?
31st.
31st?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and there's the minutes right there.
Okay. In all honesty, I have not read through them, and you're scrolling really fast,
Because it's
but I don't have to vote on
7:53.
this. Pardon?
It's 7:53 and we're still on item
I know,
number 1.
but I don't have to vote on this, right? So we just need approval from you and Mike, right?
Yeah.
I'll motion to approve previous meeting minutes.
And I will second the motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so,
All in favor and
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Did we need to do that for approval of the agenda as amended as well? I know we had a motion, but did we vote?
yeah, moved and seconded. But yeah, I thought you did, but if you didn't, you can step back and
Carried now.
I honestly, I don't think I did. Okay.
you have a motion on the agenda, you can just ask for a vote.
Okay. For Pete's sakes, you'd think I'd remember this and you'd think I didn't do that I've never run a meeting before. Okay, so we're moving on to number 5 then, item number 5.
Just
Mhm.
quickly,
Okay.
Donna, did you edit January 31st down to January 3?
Oh, shoot, yes. I got the comma in there. I forgot the one.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so item number 5, pride recognition in the community. So I think we all received the email from council asking us to look into this item. So I guess that's an official tasking, Bob?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I'm looking for the email from Doug. So we have, yes, he asked that the CDAC look into a method for pride recognition, a recommendation on what would be appropriate or what would work in the community, just from our perspective.
So I've got
Okay.
Smith Falls Pride Community queued up. For me, I think we should mirror what neighboring communities are doing and without overthinking it.
No?
I don't know if we want to, I would make a recommendation. I don't think we're the ones that need, and Bob, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't need to be the ones that craft the verbiage. It's just, we would recommend that the council continue to investigate to mirror what nearby communities are doing from a time frame standpoint, like that
I
kind
think,
of thing.
yeah, well, I think if the committee would just, that could be essentially the heart of the committee's recommendations could be, this is what North Grenville's doing, this is what Smith Falls is doing, this is what Brockton is doing, these are what small communities in the area are doing. There is some complications in that there was a crosswalk in one of the Prescott did a crosswalk in the rainbow flag our issue would be a crosswalk on the county road, whether we could do that or not, and whether it's legal to put up a decorative crosswalk, or whether, you know what I mean? You can't just suddenly say, Okay, this is
Yeah,
a
and I think the
crosswalk.
issue in Prescott wasn't the legalities of it. It was the fact that it was there, and unfortunately it got sabotaged.
Yeah,
Right. But Bob raises a good point that we may not be able to do something similar like a crosswalk if we don't have the authority to do that on the main roads, right?
yeah.
Sure, one of the Brock Street or something like that off the main road, yes, that are clearly Merrickville's domain. Yeah, we could do something, but I think yeah, I don't know whether with Bob, with your point, we need to look at other ways to provide other suggestions other than a crosswalk, just in case.
Yeah, just spitballing, what occurred to me is that new village square, if they wanted to decorate, like put up, not paint it, but put up temporary decorations in the, you know where I'm talking about, down at the blockhouse, they put in that new parquet. So,
Yes.
yeah, so
Okay.
that might be a method.
This is Kempfil's that I've got on the screen, and this is what I like: to educate, advocate, celebrate, reduce social isolation. I don't know if we need to come up with the ideas. We're not the Pride Committee. And that's completely separate, and that's not something council is going to organize anyway. I think it's more to offer a voice of support to the Pride community more than anything. So I would look at it as establish mechanisms to educate, advocate, celebrate, and reduce social isolation, and then allow committee to either have a council to have a subcommittee, or if there's members of the community that want to form a Pride committee. That's how I was taking the request. Bob, what do you think?
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No,
Rob.
go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to suggest that maybe what that actual document you're just showing us now, if that could be something that we could forward to the village. And in addition, I think in the past, if I recall, we do have a pride flag that has been put up before. And I would suggest we put that flag up again, just to show recognition.
Yeah.
It could be simple as that.
Yeah, during Pride Week to put up the flag. Yeah, and the village has one.
So I'm still not clear what's being asked of us. Are we being asked to find suggestions on how we mark this occasion? Are they looking for guidance on whether we should do anything? Does the municipality have a Pride Day? My understanding is that every region has a different Pride Week and Pride Day and all this kind of stuff. So who do we align with? Do we have any more guidance on this?
So no, to answer your questions. We're not being asked to form the Pride Committee. We are being asked to go back to council with recommendations such as educate, advocate, celebrate, reduce social, to maybe form a Pride Committee. Like, we are not being asked to do it, and nor are we being asked to come up with ideas or anything. That's how I understood Doug's request, was for us to go back to council with sort of really not advising, but recommending that they do something. So the first thing would be, we recommend, because it's Pride Month, so some community, which is usually June, I believe, some communities do Pride Week, some just do recognize one day. That's not for us to decide. Again, we are not forming the Pride Committee, but maybe it's suggesting to council that they put it out there. If somebody's interested in doing it, they would be supportive of. Bob, would you think?
Okay.
Yep. I think you're on the track now.
Okay.
Still looking for Doug's email, unfortunately. But that's it. No, I think you've captured the gist of it, which is just recommendations from the committee.
All right. So to provide some links like what Donna has here to the Kempville Pride site, maybe what Prescott and Brockville and Smiths Falls have done as well, to say, okay, here's a little bit of research. This is what the surrounding committees are doing. Here's when they do their Pride weeks. That's sufficient, or?
I think that's too much. We're not the Pride Committee. Like, we don't need to lay parameters around what a Pride Committee is going to do. It would be to form a Pride Committee would be a recommendation, but to start giving direction, I'm not a member of that community, and I wouldn't want to speak for them, and I don't think they would want me to speak for them or us if we're not a member of that community. It's more to say to council, do something, and this is what we support.
So
Poor Mike, you keep putting your hand up.
Okay, sorry, Mike. Yeah, I don't see, I see the person speaking, and that's also my apologies, Mike. So go right ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it could be as simple as the fact that we do think that the village should recognize the whole celebration, and here are some possible ways of educating and have a flag for show recognition. Simple as that, and just say that, as you said, Donna, if someone wants to go ahead and set up a committee and do that, then in my mind, the village should support it.
Should we maybe take that back and tying into what Donna said, here's some links, and council should talk to members of the Pride community to see they would be best placed on how best to mark this occasion? Like it kind of sounds like, yeah, we're being asked to do something, but we're not involving those who have a particular interest in this. And so I think that's the first thing that council should do, is to speak with or find out if there's a local Pride group or something that they could speak with directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
We're like,
well,
don't give me, like, we're here to support, but it's kind of like we'd be offering advice on without having the key stakeholders at the table.
yeah.
That's why we're
Perhaps, yeah,
committee.
perhaps the suggestion might be to give them the kind of, give council the gamut. They can, council, it's up to council or to determine what they want to do, but from something as simple as flying the Pride flag during that week on a specific day, making a declaration by the mayor that that announcement of Pride Week in Maryville and the Pride flag is going to fly. And if anything further than that, it would recommend that they strike a Pride committee to meet the needs of that community, as there are, if anything beyond that, anything beyond simple recognition, they should really have a committee for that.
Mhm.
Yes, well said.
We can go with that. So Pride recognition, simple steps, and if they're going to get more involved, form a committee.
Yeah. Okay, so then we can provide them with some suggestions, or at least some links, rather than suggestions. Here's some links to what local communities are doing.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be a good idea, because what other communities are doing, and just the suggestion that Mike had that if you fly the flag and make a public declaration, that's like the minimum you can do, but that's a start. And if you want to go deeper than that, it'd be best to have the people involved in the process.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'll type, well, read out what I'm typing. It's recommend council fly the Pride flag, making a declaration by the mayor in Pride Week. Recommend the council go to the local community to seek if there's an interest in forming a Pride committee.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
That's very good.
Because if there's no local interest, if the community wants to go elsewhere,
Yeah.
so would that be our motion to
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was a
Okay.
request by the CAO, and
yeah,
so we'll find out what format he was looking at. But I think a recommendation from this committee to council would be to follow that process, to establish a very minimum, and then however deep they want to go after that, that's up to council, and
Okay.
we would recommend they form a committee.
so the motion
they-
would be, we request council fly the Pride flag, making a declaration by the mayor in Pride Week, recommend the council go to the local community to seek if there is an interest in forming a Pride committee, and some suggestions for research provided.
Excellent.
Okay.
I would second that motion.
So I guess I just made the motion. Hang on, I'll type that. Because Mike just seconded
Yeah,
it.
and if there's anything else that they need from us, by all means, they can reach out to us and we'll support in any way possible. But yeah, I think we need to take this in small steps first, because to me, this request is very, very vague. So I think we start with what we have in our motion, and with the closing of, if there's anything else, let us know, or the email that we send this to them.
Yeah, I would send that as a recommendation to the committee. Yeah, you didn't get too far down the rabbit hole, which is good because you're not. I hesitate to say it, but it'd be like having a bunch of old white guys doing however, something they're totally unrelated to, whether it was Black history or something like that.
Yeah. We're not the
Exactly.
pride. I took it as they don't want us to form a pride committee or to make recommendations. It's, yeah. Okay, we're good. Motion moved, seconded by Mike. Awesome.
And we're going to vote on it.
Yes. What are my words for the vote?
All those in favor?
All in
All
favor?
in favor?
I'm in favor.
Good. No, moving on.
Okay. So item number 6, red grant for community Wi-Fi.
Okay, also,
Yeah.
you want me to speak to that?
Please.
So what happened is that I brought that item forward, and one of the things that there's a series of Ontario grants for rural economic development. And one of the things I brought forward was the fact that I know that the Red Grant has been used in the past to hire Stacy as economic development officer. But there's a lot of other things that are available under those grants. Some of them are you can have youth center support, you can have an art center support, you can have Wi-Fi support. There's all kinds of other grants that are available. You can apply under that program. And I think we had asked if Stacy could come to the meeting. I was kind of hoping she'd be here today, and maybe she could talk to the RED program of what I think we have applied for some of the grants, but I know that we haven't done as much as you can. But the trick is that there is a portion of those funding the village has to supply, and that's always the issue, right? So I just, at this point, I checked today to see what was happening with that RED grant system. And the applications are only open until today. They closed today. So it was February 7th to March the 7th was the open window you can apply. So at this point, if we haven't applied for the grants, we're not going to get any more until next year.
I think that, Mike, didn't Bob touch on the last time that while the grants are available, like you had said yourself, the fundings have to come from the village as well too. So they have not deemed those to be priority for the spend. It's a window that we weren't able to meet. Is that, Bob, if I'm not mistaken, that's
kind of the impression I had, was that the staff are very diligent in looking at these things. They give them a cursory look-see and just, I guess, whether this is going to make these priority, can we meet this, or is this going to cost us a great deal of money, or just simply time, the amount of time and staff time in order to get the applications off. So a lot of it's prioritizing as well. So
was there grants applied for during this term, Bob?
Oh, they've been reviewing and applied. Yeah. They've well, part of the application process has to do with the we're involved with the chamber on the Victorian lamppost application process, so we were quite involved with that. Because the village had to act as a guarantor, so they were part of the process of application for that. As well, the village, I believe, had to endorse the application by the Sons of Martha group as well for grants. They were looking for grant money as well, I believe, if I recall that correctly. So and that's just, as I say, that's just kind of a tip. They looked at some grant opportunities, as Donna suggested, are outside of our purview. They're just not possible, and others, it's just, question of getting the application in a timely fashion, etc. as well. So there certainly doesn't hurt to let people know that it's out there, but there's no guarantee that A, that we qualify for it, or B, that we can afford it, or that we prioritize it, I should say.
Okay, so for this item number 6, red grant for community Wi-Fi, that's a done deal. There's the grant period has closed, the application period has closed, and for the red grant, or is it just for the community Wi-Fi? Like, where are we drawing the line on this?
It's for the whole grant, for all of them. There's a number of different areas you can apply into, but the window's closed now. But I guess the point is that it will open again, and so it's something that we do want to pursue in the future. We should.
Is that on an annual basis? So it runs every February 7th to March 7th?
I don't know if that's always the same dates, but it has run in the past. We've used it in the past in the village.
Okay.
So I believe it's every year.
Okay. Is there, is that, do they broadcast that in advance? Do we give, what would be helpful out of this is to know the next time that window would be open, then we can talk about it in advance. We can plan for it. Is there any way to get that date, or are they kind of like, you know, they tell us tomorrow that the window opens tomorrow and it's open for 4 weeks and you're done?
I don't know if you can see my hand up. Is
Nope.
that the committee's place to be doing that if somebody in the village is already looking at grants? Are we not duplicating efforts? And like, I don't understand our place in this, only in the sense that if the village is already looking at all available grants,
Right.
we have no
I think
say.
Yeah, I think I'm only looking at it.
Spends money. We have no say in how they determine priorities for the Miracle Wolford. I don't know if sourcing of grants is something that, you know, are we the experts on, and is that required of the committee is really, I guess, my question back. Is that required of the committee? I don't see it as our place, for lack of a better.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it from a deep dive perspective and studying where the money should be spent, but rather just keeping it on our radar. If we knew, say, that the application period opens up again November 1st of this year, then in our discussions and as we go through our agenda items and projects that we're considering or at looking at, we can say, oh, and for the funding piece, we might be able to take advantage of that. So it's an information piece for us more than it is a, hey, you know, calling up Stacey and saying, oh, are you on top of this? And what are you working on? It's more just to kind of inform us with our plans and where possible source of funds may come from. So I'm just kind of thinking of it at a very high level like that. So, but for right now, if we don't have an answer to that, I would just, you know, we're done with the bread grant for right now. That item is done, right?
Yeah, it's closed at this point.
Okay. 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 So moving on to number 7. So zero emission vehicle infrastructure program. Electric car charging station. So Mike, this was something you had kindly taken on. So you have some updates for us?
I do. So I've looked into it to find out more about the program. It's a federal program. It's called Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Program. And so one of the things that it does is it's designed to have get more accessibility for electric car charging. And I looked into it, there's 3 different levels of charging. There's just a 115 volt charge called a level 1 charge, which takes 24 hours. There's a level 2 charge, which is 2 to 5 hours. And there's a level 3 charge, which is takes about half an hour. The trick is that all of those programs are all different costs, all different grants. And one of the things that I brought it up because of the fact that the government has put this program in place. And what they're about to do is, this was more my point of doing this was to give a heads up that this program is there to bring chargers availability for people. And right now, the program that the government has is primarily on the 401. It's the main arteries. But coming in the spring, they're going to reissue this program, and it's going to be for all sectors. So it's going to be for business, for municipalities, for even private people if they want. So they're about to open this up in the spring again. And so what I just looked at was to see, okay, from our perspective as a committee, you know, basically, if in fact the will is there in the community to put in a charging station, that what would it look like and what would it cost? So I did a quick look at it, and basically there's the level 2, which is, like a 2 to 5 hour charge, is something that's financially, it's reasonable cost. There is a grant that the government's had of $5,000 per plug, and it costs typically about $6,000 to install one of these. It's a 240 volt system that basically could go on a telephone pole, and we could literally put it on the street. The issue is that that's the base cost of the unit, is about $6,000. There is an installation cost, and it adds to that, but the government gives you $5,000, so it's not that bad a deal. The downside is that it takes a long time to charge. So basically, you're going to tie up a parking spot. You probably need 2 of these in a location, and you would tie it up for basically 4 hours. So that's the downside. The level 3 charger, which is the one that is a DC charger, it's a 480 volt charger. It's it's really efficient. You can get a full charge in like 15 minutes to half an hour. But the downside is the expense. It runs about $30,000 to $75,000, and the grant is only $15,000. So it's very costly. And the issue also is a bigger footprint. So my only point here is that I looked into it, and also you can make money in these things. They actually cost about 80 cents per kilowatt hour, and they typically charge $2. So it can be a revenue maker once you've paid for the original installation and got the system running.
So might repeat the cost are 80 cents per charge now, and you can charge how much?
So basically it's about 80 cents for a kilowatt hour for a charge, and you typically charge $2. So
okay.
it does make money. But as I said, the issue is that with the DC chargers, a lot more expensive. And so the end result of this is, in my recommendation would have been here, if we in fact, the will was for the village to actually put in an installation, it would be a street installation. It could be literally beside the park in downtown. And I would have recommended a level 2 because the level 3 is so expensive. The level 2 being, like I said, about $30,000, something in that range.
Mike, I have a question for you. Your involvement in the Lions, is this something that, I'm going to read out the motion in a second, but is this something that the Lions could financially support at the park entrance, like not inside, but is that something that Lions would consider supporting in conjunction with council? Because I think it's a great idea, but again, it's council's money, so we can't tell them what to spend it on.
Correct. So I actually did bring this up with the Lions, and I kind of put it out there to see if in fact it would be maybe interested in doing something like that, putting a charger in the campground. And the members basically came back and said no. And there was a couple of reasons. One is that they didn't want the public to basically come into the campground for the charge. And it would tie up an area, obviously. Right now, that's a big issue at the Lions, is people wandering into the campground who aren't campers. And so that's always been an issue with them. And the other thing is that they also said, okay, the costing information is available. But then the question came back, well, okay, there's more to it than that. There's the maintenance issues, there's insurance issues, there's other, like the operating side of it. So that's something that if in fact they did want to do that, if the village wanted to do that, they would also have to look into that. Okay. So it's not.
So I have. Sorry. I have a couple of questions. What level of government is offering the funding?
It's the federal government.
Okay. And because what comes to mind is the provincial government. I assumed it was the federal government, but the provincial government. And if there's anything to leverage there, and that nice little piece of land that the LCBO has, if we couldn't investigate what the province is offering in terms of charge stations and what the benefit is to getting them to put it on their own property, but Merrickville benefiting because they can say that there's charging stations in the village. So is that maybe something that we could investigate?
I think what's happening is that is actually what the gist of the new program is to get the public involved. So right now, for instance, there's not many charging stations in the area, by the way. There's 2 in Kempville and 2 in Smith Falls. But where they're located is really weird places. The one that's in Smith Falls is right behind the Bank of Nova Scotia. It's in the back parking lot behind the building. There's one in Kempville, which is right in front of the by the Tim Hortons in by the Walmart there. That it's in the middle of a parking lot.
The other one is
places.
There's one at the bowling lanes as well in Kempville.
Yeah, so what's happening is that they are putting charging stations in, but they're not putting them where the fuel is. They're putting them in really weird places. So what's happened is the government is trying to get people to put them everywhere. And so I wouldn't be surprised at all if the LCBO came back and said, hey, we're going to put them in all the LCBOs. I know that the penny stores, they were looking into put in their stores. So I don't think I think it's a case of, in my mind, is that you asked me to recommend what was going to happen. I would say this is not the time to do this at this point, because there's not enough information and it's sporadic. Really, what they need to put them is where the fuel is, where the pumping stations are.
Or
Okay.
I feel kind of bad that you're not as enthused as you were before, because you got me ignited on this.
I'm actually was more enthused about it. So we're not making a motion to cancel then, or we are?
I think.
Well,
I'm sorry. I just wanted to jump in and say these things will be in a very short period of time become absolutely necessary. Like old Luddites that like my, not to criticize my parents' generation, but the idea of the internet, they just couldn't see it. Oh my God, what the hell are you spending money on that for? But this is electric vehicles. There'll become a time soon where people just won't go to your town unless they can charge while they're there. And the idea that the hook that they were playing for the ones in Kempville, the company that has them in there, is come and park, take a half an hour to charge, go have lunch. Like buy locally, go shopping, go do something in the town while you're there, which kind of struck me as ideal for America. But the big issue is parking spaces that the Lions Park, you couldn't put it in there. That belongs to the federal government. That's Parks Canada property. Even the municipal parking lot where the washrooms are located, that's not owned by the municipality. The one that has a Go Huts next to the veterinarians, that doesn't, that belongs to Baldecan.
But actually, that makes you touched on something. Could we not, leverage the Parks Canada? Parks Canada would support its own government now, assuming they had a parking spot and there was some land that was feasible. But what federal
Parks
government
Canada will rent you property annually. Just to have our dry hydrant in the canal costs us $400 a year as rental. The dry hydrant just being a white that plastic pipe that sticks up out of the ground with a couple of bollards. So you could probably get the feds to rent you 2 parking spaces in their parking lot potentially.
Okay.
But is that for this committee to decide location versus we're making a motion to council? Like I think we're way ahead of ourselves as to where it's going to go. Is council. We're like to me, we're suggesting council investigate the feasibility of pursuing. I'm going to say level 2, and I put the cost per plug. The grant is 5,000 per plug.
Yeah,
I don't see it's for us to decide where it's going to go. We see this as a feasible option.
Right, and we're in the context of our conversation, we're sounding like we're trying to find a location, but if we flip that around and said, here's some possible suggestions, or here's some pros or cons of this location, this is information we now know that we can share with them, that it doesn't work at the Lions because of these issues, and we can share that information with them, and then they can use that to make their plans if that's what they choose. But the other thing that we had talked about is either we made a motion or we had asked for what the council's policy is on electric vehicles. And do we have any information on that?
Well, that wasn't in the minutes from the last meeting.
No?
So are we making a motion to council? Is what I'm asking.
Again, if I
Oh,
could
that's right,
jump in.
because we said, let's look at this first and then we'll go forward with the motion about whether they should come up with a policy or on electric
Well,
vehicles.
If I could jump in, perhaps
Yeah.
in the nature of a recommendation to council, that council be aware of the impending necessity of charging stations, and to, that the village, whether you ask them to direct staff, keep an eye out for grant programs or assistance in an installation. But
Mhm.
as a community, we should be fully aware, and I think the Chamber of Commerce probably is aware as well. You're going to have these things very shortly. Like we're
Mhm.
talking not 10 years down the road or 5 years even, we're talking in the next year or two,
Mhm.
there will be
Mhm.
sufficient electric vehicles. And at the cost of them, you got to hope those people have disposable income. And the money they save on gas, they can buy stuff in America maybe.
Well,
I
they're
don't
going to
know.
have more money than anybody driving a gas car. Can I read out a motion, and then Helen, if you're good, we could vote on it. The committee is recommending, if I could read my own writing, is recommending council investigate the feasibility of pursuing this grant or assistance of installation costs.
Yeah. But just to be aware moving forward, like this will be a necessity very soon. Sorry.
Can we also say, sorry, Bob.
No, I just wanted to say I shouldn't be talking so much, but I'm
Nope.
afraid Mike's got me kind of excited about this whole idea.
Can we also make a
Bob and I are getting
recommendation?
excited, and Mike's going, yeah, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was very excited until I really got into what's involved in this.
Oh, I think we need to
And,
do it. I think it's, I would highly recommend the council look into this. So
Can we, in our motion, make the recommendation that council begins looking into possible locations as well? Locations
that would be
for-
part of the grant application. So again, it's early
But I
days.
mean, I'm thinking, so grant aside, because they might, whatever, they might not be ready for this round of grants, whatever the case may be. But I would think that they also need to start planning, hey, where might we put this? So kind of like it's a tandem approach. So that, should another grant option come along, or this one isn't feasible to apply for, they're ready with everything that they need. And knowing where they might go informs the application as well. Because
perhaps if
sorry,
I
go
could
ahead, Bob.
just give you a little help crafting that, if your recommendation perhaps could be that it is the opinion of the Community Development Advisory Committee that this will be an integral part of community development in the very near future.
Okay.
we could add to that and say, and
I can't type
we
that
could-
fast. Hang on.
And we add to
Hold that thought.
okay,
Okay.
we could add to that the federal government is planning to expand the ZZIP program, and that they should plan for that program.
Okay. So let me just type it. Okay. There are, just one sec.
This way they know it's coming, and
Yeah. And you've got
Yeah.
the ZVIP
so that was in the spring. They're talking
programs
about.
being released in spring 2020. Okay, so I'll read it out to you and then we'll take a vote. Motion is in the opinion of the CDAC that exploring the installation of electric car, I'll read it again, charging stations. Okay, so it is the opinion of the CDAC that exploring the installation of electric car charging stations is a potential viable option for council to investigate. Let me just carry on to investigate.
The feasibility.
Yeah, investigate the feasibility of pursuing this. Okay, there are I'll read it again. There are grants or other, grants of assistance of installation costs. There are current ZVIP programs being released in 2022. It is the opinion of the CDAC that exploring the installation of electric car charging stations is a potential viable option for council to investigate the feasibility of pursuing. Okay, there are grants of assistance for installation costs.
Well, I think they're aware that there will be grants. I think if you just put in, grants are becoming available and should be pursued.
And should be pursued. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read it one more time and then we'll vote on it. How's that? Or I'll motion it and then need a second. And then a
Okay.
vote. Okay.
Should we
I
say
learn how to
something?
spell.
Should we say something in there, the fact that this is a benefit to the village, to the county community?
I think that's a given because we're making the recommendation, right? To me, that's a given. Okay, it is the opinion of the CDAC that exploring the installation of electric car charging stations is a potential viable option for council to investigate the feasibility of pursuing. There are grants of assistance for installation costs and should be pursued. There are current ZVIP programs being released in 2022. And then it goes back to council. So that's my motion, and then we'll need a seconder if that's the verbiage that we're good with.
I'm good with it. Mike Severson votes to second it. You think this will get the point across, Bob?
I think, and I'm prepared to, whatever, just help interpret a bit. I don't know, again, Mike, I'm disappointed you're not as excited as you were before, but I am very, you really tweaked. I'm the worst futurist ever. I was on a financial institution board of directors when debit cards came out, and I never thought they'd take off. I thought, why would people spend their own money when they can use a credit card and delay paying it for and all kinds of stupid reasons for not using debit cards, but we adopted them anyway, and I was very wrong, admitted it. This one, for some reason, it just struck me that we will be hobbled as a tourist destination if we do not step up and get electric charging stations in the village.
So then, Bob, when this goes to council, you'll be able to support it with the enthusiasm of the committee, that it's something that we're firmly behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell them that,
I don't think people realize. I don't think people realize. Oh, it's a good thing to get an electric car, and you can see that. But the issue is that the accessibility of the charging stations is going to be a huge negative factor. It's just they're not available, and where they're putting them is horrible places. So yeah, they've got to do more.
Okay, so we've made the motion. It's been seconded by Mike. Do we need a vote now?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Favor?
Yes. Carried.
Okay. All right. So good. We're making progress.
Yes.
Okay. So item number 8, other business. Item number 1 is old business water treatment consultant. So Mike, it sounded like you're looking for an update on the water treatment study.
Yeah, Bob had mentioned that there was something the council was looking at, and I'm just wondering how they were doing.
Oh, it's very, we got our report, and the efforts to keep out the gray water have been very successful. However, we need a best 5 years. If you follow me, like our worst year was 2017, and we've been doing better every year. And the efforts that have been made within the past year in terms of grouting the sewer pipes to keep water from infiltrating into our sanitary sewers and to repair, it is working. We're getting much better numbers. The numbers Ministry of the Environment requires a 5-year picture. So whether we have to wait another full year or not, or whether they'll be satisfied with the data that's come in so far, but it has certainly improved the situation in terms of capacity, but it's still not at the point where I would be comfortable as a council member approving any large scale projects, simply because I do not believe we have the sewage treatment capacity. And with the provincial push for more housing, etc., it could be down the road that the province is going to be willing to fund a great deal more in terms of an expansion of a sewage treatment plant. But at the time, the costs that we're carrying for our current one, we need to maximize the number of users on the system but within the parameters set down by the Ministry of the Environment.
Excuse me, Bob.
So what,
Sorry, I got the impression, Bob, when we talked last meeting, that one of the things the council was doing was looking at bringing in a consultant to look at not just the gray water, but also the rates and the cost per connection for the village. And because right now we have very expensive water, and the sewer connections are twice the cost, which is pretty high. And I think you had said that you were thinking of getting a consultant in to look at that also. Is that correct?
We're looking at, oh God, I'd have to find the motion, Mike. I'd best refer that to later. I'll try and get back to the committee members on that and get back to you. The process that they're in, whether it's a grant that they've applied for or whether the grant's been successfully received, to hire a consultant to perform a study on it. But consultants aside, the actual physical work that's being done is having an impact.
okay. So what's, is there anything for this committee to do other than to say it is in council's interest to inform the residents that their actions have an impact on the growth of this community?
I think particularly,
Meaning
Mary,
if
you're
you
right.
don't want, if you don't follow the proper wastewater treatment plan, you delay growth in the community. Like, we had that whole awareness, that idea of doing an awareness campaign.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. I would like to see an ad in the Phoenix and in the North Carolina Times. It's basically asking people, do you know where your stormwater is going? Do you know where your sump pump empties? Because if you don't know where it's going, it's probably going in the sanitary sewer, and you're preventing an opportunity for us to reduce our rates. Because what we really have to get across to people is, on the south side of the river, 372 households own that sewage treatment plant. And they own it in that they own the debt on it and they have to pay it. And that's why our costs are so high. It's a limited number of users. So we could bump up our users by 25%, which is what we're looking at for the Parkview, which we have the capacity for. But beyond that, that's what's holding up perhaps other developments, etc. But yeah, oh no, the village is very aware of that, very aware. But I do believe a little tweak on them, that a public awareness campaign is highly recommended. Is certainly not amiss, would be within this community's purview.
So if I'm writing a motion, it is the opinion of the CDAC that the council communicate to the residents the status of the water treatment program and updates.
Well, and encourage residents to be aware of where their water goes.
Okay.
It's more the gray water issue that is the huge one.
It's the sump pump connections that are the issue, right?
Yes, exactly. People, and this has been done in communities everywhere. People didn't want to have a pipe hanging out of their house, so they stuck it into the sanitary sewer and didn't think about it.
Well, I think what it is that just to give you an idea of what's happening, I bought a house on Wellington Street, an older house. It was a 1800 house originally. And when I basically checked, I found that my sump pump was connected right to the sewer also. So I just disconnected it and reconnected it to go outside. But I wasn't aware of that was an issue. And so I fixed mine, and I'm betting pretty well all the older homes in this village are all connected, because that's what everybody did. And
and even the new homes, Mike, because there's frequently the storm sewer was not down low enough for people's weeping tile to drain into. Everything's solid stone in this town. I know Charlotte Street, it's only down 3 feet. The sanitary sewer, in fact, is only down a few feet. So like there's issues with depth of pipes. There's issues with old homes not having any weeping tile around them and not having a means of draining. So they have a sump pump inside their basement. The easiest thing to do is pump it right into the sanitary.
So an awareness campaign that basically not to connect to have the sump pump connected to the septic system, not septic system, the sewer system, is something that would benefit the village.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read the motion again then. So I'm just looking at the time. It is the opinion of the CDAC that the council communicate to the residents the status of the water treatment program and to encourage residents to be aware of where the water goes. as well as the impact on the growth of the community.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's my motion.
Okay. Do we have anyone to second that?
Mike Saversnook will second that.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
When formality doesn't make sense, four people in a room and yeah. Anyway, okay.
We gotta convince Tom. to come
Um,
back. So we gotta convince Tom to come back.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so was there any other business for this evening?
no, because it wasn't approved at the initial outset of the meeting to go onto the agenda, so we can't.
Okay.
This is pretty impressive, you know, we covered a lot of topics, and I think, and at least for me, they're very front of mind. The pride recognition is something that the village has been concerned about covering.
Okay.
The red grant and for Wi-Fi and the electric car charging, I think, is definitely the future. So,
Okay, good. And then the water treatment again, a little bit of movement.
awareness
We'll send out that
campaign,
motion.
yeah, and
Pardon?
that's a simple one that the village can accomplish just by, you know, taking out ads. Hell, I'll write the thing if they need to.
Yeah, especially as we're approaching the spring. Like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we had a ginormous puddle at the end of our driveway yesterday with all the melt. The river, I think the water has now found its way into the river. So overnight the water dissipated, but there's still a lot of snow out there to melt, and we're not done with the snow. So in terms of runoff and impact on the water treatment facility, there's lots of opportunity to get people's attention with where their wastewater is going. Okay, so if we cannot add other business, we can move on to our next meeting date.
I even brought the calendar up.
Oh, you're so efficient. Love
No,
it.
I'm looking at the clock. It's not efficient.
I think so. We're 2 weeks delayed. We were supposed to meet on the 21st, and that was our regular cycle, right? So we're
Bob,
either
yeah,
looking
but
at
we've got Easter in here, Bob. When's the next council meeting?
Oof, I'd have to go back. So we're the second Monday and the fourth Monday of each month. Unless
Okay, so
Easter's jumped in.
no, Easter's here.
Yeah, Easter's the 17th.
Okay, so you're the 12th. So we should probably have ours on the 19th because that
That's
follows
Easter.
the next.
Is that Easter Monday?
Oh, shoot, it is
Easter
too.
Monday's the 19th. The 18th, sorry.
Oh, sorry, your calendar's on Monday. There.
Yeah,
Oh, so
sorry, mine
Tuesday.
starts
Yeah.
on the Monday. Yeah.
It's a funny calendar.
Yeah, that is
So that's Tuesday, the 19th you're talking about?
Yeah, no, sorry. The 18th is the Monday. So your council meetings are, but that's Easter.
That's Easter
Council
Monday.
meetings
Yeah,
are the 11th and the 25th.
Yeah.
So there's no point having another meeting before the next council meeting. That doesn't make sense unless we,
God, I have my meetings on the phone here. I'll tell you.
because we're here.
So April 11th and April 25th.
Yeah, but
Are-
that's what, no point us having another meeting before the next council meeting because there's nothing else to recommend. And
Yeah.
the following is Easter Monday.
Yeah, so our next council meeting is March 14th, and then the one after that is March 28th. Then April 11 and April 25.
So we could do April 4th.
Yep, that would fall in nicely.
Would that work?
I think so.
Yeah, works for me.
And that's
Okay.
about a month away from today.
April 4th, which is a Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So if you could, when you do send the, so this will all be in the minutes, everything we talked about tonight. So when you send the minutes, CC Doug Robertson, Struthers on.
So April 4th is our next meeting at 7:30.
Sorry, I jumped in on you.
Sorry, that you didn't come out very clear there.
Oh, I apologize, Helen. I should have stuck my hand up and wait. But the
No,
Yeah.
it came out garbled for some reason. I don't know what happened.
so
was technical.
yeah. So when we send our recommendations in the form of the minutes to the council, CC Doug Robertson, of course, and CC the mayor, Doug Struthers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then they're aware of what's going on. So when it comes to council, they have. But I'll certainly be supporting recommendations that you made tonight.
Okay.
Will you be able to check, Bob, to see if we can get the council chamber on the 4th?
Yeah, sure, I'll do that. April 4th.
Okay.
There's no reason we can't be there. And if there's enough room for any interested members of the public, if we have 4 of us, yeah, there'd be room for a restricted number, but I don't imagine there's that many that are interested. Perhaps if anyone interested in physically attending the meeting, that may be the new protocol, is that they have to let the CAO know, so that we have, we can cap it at 2 or 3 people if they want to sit in.
And that's
Okay.
common, is you have to register in advance for things
Yeah.
like that, so that you're at capacity. If we're still at 50% capacity,
Mhm.
then somebody else is regulating that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mind you, there's about to be another set of changes, isn't there? Like, isn't March 31st or something like that? Like by the end of March, we might be without the mask mandates. So who knows what else will change between now and then?
Yeah, and the 14th,
Okay.
there's not something in the middle of the month, or?
Oh, I have
can't
no idea.
Yeah, I'll be carrying masks in my
Um,
pocket for the next year, so. just in
Pardon?
case. I say I'll be carrying a mask in my pocket for the next year, just in case.
Agreed.
In case you have to wear them or not, I'm not sure, I bought a new coat and I didn't have any
Exactly.
masks, and I was all the way downtown before I realized I didn't have any.
Yep. So yeah, yeah, I can see myself doing something similar, especially it's like I'm going onto not that I'm going to take the LRT because I live out in Merrickville, but if I were, I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'd feel more comfortable perhaps with a mask for the short term.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we have our next date. Our meeting agendas are items are covered. We are now adjourning. So
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
motion. Okay, perfect. Do we do
Carried.
an all in favor?
All in
I'm
favor?
kind of thinking.
Okay, so it is 8:48. We are done with this one.
All right, I'll get this minutes off to you, Helen, for review. And Bob, do I send them off or does Helen send them off? I can't remember.
You should circulate the minutes to your fellow committee members.
Okay.
So that they can check the minutes and, they can, whatever, if there's any adjustments that have to be made. But when the committee's, satisfied that the minutes reflect the business that was undertaken, then we can send them off to myself, Doug Robertson, and Doug Struthers as well, and put clerk on it as well. The deputy clerk, I think, is a how would you call it? It's an email address that whoever's been assigned to that.
Yeah, I'll have to find that. Okay, I'm going to send them to us right now, because
Perfect.
that's the beauty of doing them live. Anyway, I got to go. So
Okay.
I'll get them off to you right now, and we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Donna, for being our secretary. Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight, and we will see you in a few weeks.
All right, thanks.
I'll
Bye.
second that.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. And listen,
Bye,
great job.
everyone.
You hung in there when it was a little tough and you got it done. So